Hey, good morning, everybody. Hello and welcome in. It is Friday with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. You can see we are together. We're at Stivers CDJR in Prattville today.
Yeah, we've got a lot that we are getting involved in today. I get here early. I always do. You come up Cobbs Ford Road, just off I-65.
A little foggy today.
It is a little foggy. Patches of it. Montgomery seemed to be okay, but south of Montgomery and between Montgomery and Prattville was pretty foggy. But I get to the top of the crest of the hill over here on Cobbs Ford Road, heading into Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And I always look up when I get to the crest and I look at this billboard. There's an electronic billboard right in the corner of the parking of the vehicle lot here at Stivers. And there's always something on there that has one of the latest deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. So that's really my first exposure to the dealership when I get in here is that billboard. And I look at it, first thing I think is like, wait a minute, 2024 Jeep Wranglers up to $3,000 off. It's always something different because there's always vehicles and there's always deals. And every time I look at it, I think, how in the world are they doing this, John?
Well, Barry, it's Employee Pricing Plus, which is below employee pricing. Beat the tariffs. We've been telling you that for weeks now. And you're right, Barry, incredible deals. Here are a few more. New 2025 Ram 1500s, up to 17 grand off or 1.9% for 72 months. That's 11 grand below employee pricing. We're here at Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer. Why is that the case? Because they're selling big Rams at $11K below employee pricing. That's how.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't know how they do it, but they do it all the time. And that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Deals all over the place because, John, there are vehicles all over the place.
Well, they are. They're loaded here at Stivers in the front, on the sides, and the rear of the dealership here on Cobbs Ford Road. So many vehicles for you to check out, like the 2024 Grand Cherokee L up to $21K off. That's $16,000 below employee pricing. Great deals on Jeep Grand Cherokees at 14 grand off or 0% for 72 months. They give you options here, Barry. A lot of options. APR rate's incredible. Sticker price is incredible. You get the whole deal here at Stivers.
It's unbelievable. All of the vehicles here will just knock your socks off if we wore socks.
Yeah.
It's a phrase, but you need to come on out here.
Yes, sir.
You need to be a part of it here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. We'll tell you all about it. We'll answer some questions.
I got a question for you.
All right.
And our viewing and listening audience today. Who had the bigger collapse yesterday? The Oklahoma City Thunder or the Atlanta Braves?
Yeah, if you're wondering right now, Bill from Baltimore is the first. I got an answer to this one. We're talking about we're going to answer questions today. I got an answer to this one. Bill from Baltimore says, how long before John revels in blowing a 6-run lead in the top of the ninth? That would be 3 minutes into the show.
Well, I wanted to ease into it, Bill. I just didn't want to go bam right across the face. Just, let me ask you a question. Let me throw this out there.
Well,
and I think that's some interesting debate, Barry, because you're at home. I know it's an early game. Crowd was probably a little slim. I did have a friend of mine that texted me and said, hey, my brother was at this game. He said it was great. Must have been a D-backs fan.
No, well, I mean, it was.
You're at home. You're up. You're ninth inning. All you got is you need 3 outs. Game's over.
The question John asks is, which was the bigger collapse? And you got to take into account the fact that the way this season is going for the Braves, the way this season is going for the Diamondbacks, there ain't a doggone thing writing on it. Not a thing. So here we are, Braves 5-1 third inning. They're leading 6-0 after 3. Braves fans are, they're getting, they're getting, the ACL surgery or something like that, elbow surgery, Tommy John surgery from doing the chop. Diamondbacks score 3 in the 4th, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Braves answer in the 5th and the 6th, 1 in the 8th. Braves are leading that game, I kid you not, 10-4 in the 9th inning last night at home.
At home.
in the ninth inning. By 6 in the ninth inning.
3 outs. That's all we need. Or y'all need 3 outs. Just 3.
6-run lead in the ninth inning. Diamondbacks score 7.
You know, Barry,
and
that's
the Braves snatch an 11-10 defeat out of the jaws of victory.
Scoring 7 runs in the top of the ninth is like scoring 4 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of a football game.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if that's ever been done.
Probably more than that. You know,
I always give it a football analogy. You know, I hate it for them, Barry. I know it was tough for those fans over there that brave those temperatures. It's taking a day off work to go out there and eat a cold hot dog at Truist Park or wherever it is. Man, that's tough.
It's like blowing a 24-3 home lead at halftime.
Yeah.
In your biggest rivalry game.
Sure. Or like you're 4 up with 2 to play and you lose the match. You're going, well, wait a minute. You go to extra holes and lose? Yeah, what up? It's unbelievable.
This is also what I hate.
Yep.
You know, baseball, I've always loved it. I've always had a love affair with baseball because you play it at your own pace. You know, it's just the beauty of the game and all of that. Well, nowadays you got a pitch clock and you got to, the hitter has got to give the pitcher at least 6 seconds, this kind of stuff. You also have win probabilities. Don't give me win probabilities. Yeah. Who was it? Never tell me the odds.
Since we're throwing football in there, Barry, I believe the win probability for Auburn on the Gravedigger play was 99.9% chance to win the game. So I had to throw mine because you threw that Cam one in there on me. The 24 was it 24 to 7, wasn't it?
I think it was 24-7.
Yeah, 24-7. Yeah.
It was 24-0 at one point.
Yeah, it was 24-7.
But
they
show this win probability. ESPN does this. And I'm thinking, how in the world do they know? How in the world do they conjure up these numbers except to have all the viewers say, hey, wow, we've got an 89.1% chance. They don't know.
I think it's something
just a number.
I think it's something called Matrix or something. I'm not real sure what that's about. It's kind of like algorithms. I'm not real sure what those are.
The records of the 2 teams, you factor that in, the score, of course, who they have coming up, who the pitcher is. Going into the 9th inning yesterday afternoon, before they had to take that long flight to San Francisco. In the 9th inning, ESPN posted the Braves' win probability. It looked a little bit like John's grade point average sophomore year.
Yeah, it's tough.
Before summer school.
Yeah, I did go to summer school after my sophomore year. I sure did.
Because of his grade point average.
No,
I'm just teasing. Yeah. 0.1% probability.
Ooh.
That is 1 in 1,000. And they score and they give up 7 runs in the 9th inning. And the Diamondbacks, if it was the Yankees or the Dodgers, you could at least have a rationalization that it's a good team. They're not even a good team.
So I touched on this a little bit.
Yeah, Bill from Baltimore, and you're right. Han Solo said that. I was about to say Indiana Jones. I knew it was Harrison Ford.
Said what now?
Said, never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that is. That is a good line.
Yeah. Something the Phantom has never said.
Yeah, come on, odds. So we talked about this yesterday, and I did think about it. And I knew it was a tough day. I got a text from you. You couldn't believe they blew the lead. I didn't want to rub it in a little bit. But I did think about, if you're familiar, Barry, with Hartsfield, it's huge. They got a ton of runways. There's a hotel. I think it's a Renaissance. It's kind of wedge-shaped, and you can see it from the runway. It is right there. If you're a plane nut, you get a room, sit out there on that balcony. You can watch them land and take off all day. Well, right there in front of it, in between the hotel and the runway, is the private area where like charters and private planes and stuff. And when the Braves and the Hawks and the Falcons leave, that's where they leave from.
Right. Okay.
Pull the buses up. They go through security. They don't go through the terminal. They leave from right there. So I was thinking yesterday, and we've touched on it. You blow a 6-run lead in the top of the ninth, lose the game. I don't know what the manager tells you in the clubhouse, except pack your bags. We're heading to the airport. You got to go out there, get on a plane for 4.5, 5 hours, thinking about how did we blow this game. I said, yeah, you're over Nebraska. You're thinking there's just no way. I mean, is the doubt set in for this Braves team? Do they bounce back in California this weekend? Or are they looking at themselves going, oh,
this ain't the year, Tom. This ain't the year. And you got Brian Snitker. Brian Snitker is the manager of the Braves, John. You're on your charter. You got your own row.
Yeah.
Everybody's, you're tired, you're disgusted, busted, can't be trusted. And you look up there, and Snitker, who does not have a hair on his head, he is as bald can be. He's up there. You can see that steam still coming from the top of his head up there on the front row right. And you're thinking, oh, this is the longest flight ever. So, yeah. But then again, and we don't want to get too deep in this, although we will, because I'll go ahead and tell you, this was the Phantoms' daily dog yesterday. Game 1 of the NBA playoffs in Oklahoma City. And the Thunder, favored by 9.5, playing at home, they are cooking. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got a good start, played well. Thunder playing well in front of the home. It's about, 8 minutes to go? 7 minutes to go?
Between the 7 and 8 minute mark.
Against the Indiana Pacers?
Yeah.
And the Thunder's leading by 15? And John's getting all these texts. What in the world is the Phantom thinking? Where in the world? And John's having to text him back. Don't give up yet. Don't give up yet.
Nope.
Tyrese Halliburton hits a jumper, 0.3 of a second to go. Pacers 111, Oklahoma City 110.
It was a good one.
They didn't need the 9.5.
No, it didn't.
They won the game.
Yep. And we'll obviously talk more about that as we get into next hour. But very great NBA game 1 in the finals last night. There again, I know, what do you watch the first half for? It all happens in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Well, I've heard that argument before.
Yeah.
But it does make it fun, and it was a good if you're a sports fan, it was a heck of a finish. You could see the OKC fans getting a little antsy, a little panicky, particularly those ones that laid the 9.5. They're really getting panicky and upset. But, hey, they got some more games to play. They'll play again on Sunday. We'll talk more about that later in the day. But you're right. Of the two, I would probably say OKC. It was tougher on them because it's a finals. There's only so many games you can play. You don't need to lose at home. The Braves got, 100 more games to play or something like that. So, okay, we drop one. Final game against the D-backs. We'll get them again later in the year. So what? Big deal.
I think it's a bigger gut punch, a bigger mental, shot for the Oklahoma City fans because they've been the best team in the NBA all year.
Yeah.
They had a 15-point lead at home. They blow it. Pacers lead the series 1-0. They file out of that arena, and they still live in Oklahoma City.
I wonder.
My sister, Jenny, who's now at Indiana University, she lived for a little while in Oklahoma City and taught at a private school there, private college there. Was not a big fan.
Really?
Why in the world is there an NBA franchise in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma?
I wondered that too. I think we've talked about it. I don't know. I think you did. I think you looked it up. I don't know what the population off the top of my head is of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I've never really thought of Oklahoma City as being this big metropolis. Hey, let's go to Oklahoma City for the weekend, like people go to New York City and whatnot.
Here's how I judge it. Here's how I judge it. When I'm at the airport and I'm looking up at the big board, constantly, Puerto Vallarta, New York, Los Angeles, Miami. Hey, where are they going? Hey, Houston flights? Boy, they got like 4 Houston flights. Got this and that. And all Chicago and everything. And then you look and you see Sacramento.
Yeah.
You see Oklahoma City.
Memphis.
Yeah. You see around the same vibe that you get Lubbock, El Paso.
Yeah.
Richmond, Virginia.
I think Lubbock's about the size of Montgomery. I don't know that. I'm just kind of guesstimated, particularly what Tuberville's told us about Lubbock.
Yeah.
There again, I hate to ask questions on the fly. This might be a weekend research project. What NBA city is the smallest? You mentioned Sacramento, Oklahoma City, Memphis.
Well, that's a good question. I would have to say Oklahoma City.
I would think so. I've actually been to Sacramento. It's a pretty nice sized town.
That was I think it was the setting for 8 is Enough back in the 70s, that TV program.
You might be right.
5 smallest markets: Memphis, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, and Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City's kind of a bigger town. I got to go to OKC and see what it's all about. You know, I'm with you. I mean, New Orleans, they don't have, I think, all the Fortune 500 companies they had left after the hurricane. It is. I mean, I would think New Orleans is kind of a tough spot, but they seem to love their Saints. Pelicans, not so much. But
Orlando?
Memphis, definitely. I could see how that would be a smaller NBA venue. In Orlando, man, that place is growing leaps and bounds.
Is it bigger than Memphis?
Orlando? I would think so, yeah.
I used to live in Orlando. It was nice. Anyway, we are glad you're along with us.
Yes, we are.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. We are in the showroom at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We're in Prattville, Cobbs Ford Road, in the preferred community. Want you to be a part of it. Lots to get to on the show today. Make sure you hit that like button. John's like me. He considers algorithms like he considers QBR ratings and ESPN FPI. Doesn't really understand it, knows what it is, don't know how they arrive at it, but we can tell you, we've been told our algorithms really, perk up, really improve or something. As many times as you can hit that like button or tell your friends, the subscriptions don't cost nothing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and everything. Lots of different ways you can watch and listen. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. Okay, 19 minutes past the hour on this Friday. Longshore McKnight live here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Of course, Barry, employee pricing plus, which means below employee pricing. New 2025 Jeep Gladiators up to $12,000 off, and that's $8,000 below employee pricing. 2025 Jeep Compass starting at just $22,999. That's $6,000 off, $5,000 below employee pricing. Just a few of the great deals going on here this weekend and all month long here at Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, Alabama, and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer. Good to hear from John from Wetumpka today. Rays come from behind to win. Braves throw up on themselves, and it's the last day of the FFA convention. A lot going on with John today.
Yep, there is. And I think his son had a birthday yesterday.
Oh,
I think
wow.
we wished him happy birthday,
Awesome.
our buddy Caleb. There's a lot to get to on the program today. Today is the start of first of all, the Women's College World Series goes to its championship game tonight. Last night, Texas Tech beat Texas 4-3. Texas Tech's $1 million NIL pitcher that they signed from Stanford struck out a Texas batter with a tying run at third in the final inning. It was great. 7 o'clock tonight, ESPN, either Texas or Texas Tech wins. Both programs looking for their first national championship. Somebody said, do you really want Texas in the SEC? Well, but there's also the start today of the NCAA baseball super regionals. The day is a big one in Auburn today. First ever hosting an NCAA super regional. Auburn's been to 4 under Butch Thompson. They've been to several before, but
is this on ESPN Plus too?
The game today, the Auburn Coastal Carolina game,
this sheet
is at 8 o'clock. Let's see.
I mean, you talking about
it's on ESPN 2 tonight.
Oh, okay. They got bumped up a little bit.
Yep. Tomorrow's game as well is on ESPN 2. Auburn and Coastal Carolina gets underway tonight at 8 o'clock.
So Barry, with his super regional chart, you just kind of check them off as you watch them?
4 games today.
Yeah.
And I'll be checking them off. Starts at 11 o'clock this morning, Arizona versus North Carolina. 2 o'clock, Louisville versus
Marshall? Who is that?
No, hang on. Louisville versus Miami.
Miami, okay.
Florida State and Oklahoma State at 5. And then Auburn and Coastal Carolina at 8
Barry,
tonight.
you'll never have to change the channel today. All 4 of those games on the Deuce.
Yep. They get bumped because of the Women's College World Series. Everybody plays tomorrow. 8 games tomorrow, 4 games today. So
I mean, you are loaded. Now, wait a minute. I do see a couple of ESPNU games tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow, ESPNU has Texas San Antonio versus UCLA. ESPN has Tennessee versus Arkansas in Fayetteville.
On the mothership?
ESPN has Miami and Louisville. ESPNU has Murray State and Duke. ESPN has West Virginia and LSU in Baton Rouge. And tomorrow, ESPN2 has Auburn and Coastal Carolina beginning at 2. So
Barry,
cannot wait.
Going to be a very festive atmosphere there at Plainsman Park on the campus of Auburn University for the Super Regional. Should be a lot of fun. Weather going to be good. Maybe a shower here and there, but you'll be able to handle that. No sweat. Looking forward to a little Super Regional baseball action. Auburn, the only team in the state still left standing.
There's conversation about the SEC. Auburn's in, Tennessee's in, Arkansas's in, LSU's in. And I'm kind of agree with Jason Caldwell yesterday, AuburnUndercover.com. He said, there's no real super team. You know, Tennessee last year was just blowing through everybody. They won the championship. There's no super team out there. But Auburn's got as good a chance as anybody.
Sure they do. Yeah, come on. They're playing, aren't they?
Playing at home.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a couple of guys who can carry a team. Mike Irish, Cooper McMurray.
Yeah.
I like those guys a lot. They're a little bit injured.
Oh,
Derek
here we
Fabian,
go.
the shortstop's hurt. Eric Guevara has been the third baseman. He's been hurt. But I just like to visualize what it would mean if Auburn won the national championship in collegiate baseball.
Well,
full disclosure, and this is many, many, many years ago. I spent 7 years as the play-by-play broadcaster on radio for Auburn baseball. Way back when. I'm talking Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson, Greg Olson, those guys. And back in those days, they had 3 aluminum bleachers. And at the very top was this mobile home looking thing that I broadcast from for
kind of sounds
years.
like the soccer venue at Auburn today.
As a matter of fact, I think that's what happened to it. I think that's what happened to it when they finally did something after I left to improve Plainsman Park.
Yeah.
They just got a couple of trucks and loaded those bleachers and just went over to softball. I honestly do. I think that's what happened. So just to try to figure in my mind what it would look like for Auburn to be a national baseball champion, kind of boggles my mind.
Would it be more exciting than the equestrian national titles, or the swimming and diving that they won so many decades ago, or what else have they won an Natty?
You're not drawing 8,000 or 10,000 or 12,000 or whatever it is at TD Ameritrade Park in Omaha for equestrian.
No,
you're not showing the men's golf championship, which Auburn won last year.
They did. You're right. I knew there was something else I was missing
on ESPN. They're not showing that. I mean,
that was on Golf Channel, I think. Yeah.
So.
I think it would be pretty cool. That goes without saying, particularly, Barry, where this team was this time last year compared to where they are today.
Yes.
I told the story before. I'm at MGM Regional Airport at the baggage carousel. I look over there and go, that guy looks really familiar. Who is this guy? And he turns around and got the little Auburn thing on. So that's Auburn's baseball coach. I couldn't tell you his name at the time.
Yeah, Butch.
Hey, buddy, what's up, big man? Hey, War Eagle. And I thought, man, is he out job searching, recruiting? Because, man, they stunk this year. And, man, he flipped it around, got him in the Super Regionals, hosting. Yes, I mean, there would be a shortage of toilet paper in Lee County. They would roll Toomer's Corner. Well, of course, the students are out. So, maybe not as many as there, say, like if Alabama loses a regular season game and they go roll Toomer's Corner. I guess it would be somewhat festive, but, kind of
somewhat festive.
Well,
the place would be nuts,
because the students aren't there. If the students
somewhat
were there,
festive? Well, you got some summer school students.
Yeah, I hate it for them. That would they come back?
John tosses off the "I hate it for them," and it irritates me. Does it also irritate anybody when he does it? He doesn't just say it. Whenever he says, "Hey, Butch Thompson, baseball coach, War Eagle," he just tosses off a War Eagle like he's legit with it.
I have done it before.
To Chuck, Butch, random guy at the airport terminal wearing an
no doubt.
Hey, War Eagle.
If I see a guy,
does that irritate everybody to know that John does that?
Well, the thing is, if say you and I are walking down Concourse B at Hartsfield, and I go, "Oh, look, Barry, look at this guy coming in. Watch this." Guy
he's
closer.
Like 120 yards back.
And I can see him
400 people just like.
Yeah, I mean, my Auburn radar. I'm not going to find him. I said, "Barry, watch this. This ought to be good." Gets closer. I make eye contact. "Hey, man, War Eagle."
And he'll brighten up and say, "Hey, War Eagle." And he'll keep walking on a little jauntier step.
Barry shaking his head.
And I'm thinking, he don't even know. He does not even know. He's like, "Wow, I ran into a fellow Auburn fan." And I really said, "Oh, that was great." And I'm thinking, you made that guy's day for false pretenses.
We both are happy. We both had.
He's happy because he had a interaction with a fellow family member.
Yeah.
John is happy because he pulled one over on the Aubs again.
That guy thinks I'm a big Auburn guy. He's probably in his mind going, "Buy to get a buy to get." He goes, "Man, that was a nice guy to do that." Problem is, Barry, I've been to a lot of places on this planet. It's amazing how many people I've seen with Auburn gear on. It's unbelievable. I got to give them credit. They're extremely loyal. They love to show their loyalty. They wear the gear. I got to tip my cap. I'm not going to say it's the only clothes that they have. I've used that line before. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of mean-spirited, but they love to represent. There's no doubt.
I just think that John notices it more than everybody else does, because he'll say, look at this guy. And I'm like, what guy? He says, the orb over there in the corner. Where? Right over there. Say, look past the fat lady over there behind the cash register. How do you even see that, John? You can't see that?
I'm going to make a prediction.
All right.
I'm actually going to be out of the country in about 10 days. I promise you, while I'm out of the country, I will see somebody in Auburn gear.
You've got to take a picture.
I will take a picture.
Send it to me.
Matter of fact, I might even go up to the guy, put my arm around him, and get somebody to take the picture of us. How about that?
Just random guy. I mean, it doesn't have to be like the King Charles or
just anybody wearing Auburn gear outside of the country.
The
and
Prime
it's happened
Minister
before.
Of Turks and Caicos.
It has happened before. I'm telling you. And I'm not getting on them. They represent. I'm telling you, they're very loyal.
John has always been impressed by that.
Unreal. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Well,
the first time it ever happened to me, Bear, I've shared this story. I'll share it real quick. I am heading to, of all places, Tokyo, Japan. This is probably 35 years ago, I'd say. And we're halfway over the Pacific, probably flying over the North Pole at this point in time. And strike up a conversation.
Flies over the North Pole.
Well, they do go that way because it's shorter. Instead of going that way, they go this way.
No. Yeah. That's creepy.
Yeah. Well, you look at the window, it's really creepy.
Oh,
you go, wow, look at all that ice and snow.
God.
And so we strike up a conversation. The guy said, hey, I just noticed, your accent. I caught, dang it, registered. Just kind of curious where you're from. I said, well, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I said, really? Oh, wow. 4 of them. We all went to Auburn. I went, wait a minute. I am halfway across the world, and I'm on a plane with 4 Aubs? No way. No way. Only me that would happen to. And, of course, I go, oh, hey, War Eagle. Yeah, oh, yeah, man. Woo, yeah, wow. That Pat Dye, don't you love him? Oh, he's great,
Rex says, to be fair, I did see a guy with an Alabama shirt on at the Vatican a couple of years ago. He spoke no English at all. You know why? It's because here's why, is because they have all of those unsold SEC championship T-shirts that nobody buys because they won the national championship that year. And everybody's like, I don't want to buy. So, they sell those at cut rate prices all over Europe and Asia and everything like that. And guy says, oh, Alabama.
I was thinking maybe that Daddy game against Clemson in Santa Clara.
Yeah, those things
were shipping those out at halftime. Oh.
Well, we'll take a break when we come back.
I mentioned this yesterday, Barry. I jotted it down. I'm not sure I jotted everything down correctly. But our man Terrence, with a couple of questions on the River Region Straw chat line yesterday, he wanted us to address. I wrote them down. And Terrence, if I did not write them down completely, or if we don't answer the question or give our opinions completely, please let us know. But I think I got the gist of it. I got the meat and potatoes of what he wanted us to discuss or get our thoughts about it. We can do that when we return.
Yes, we are live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville in association with Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch, Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. It is Friday, Longshore and McKnight at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where it is below employee pricing here at Stivers. You know what that means? Employee pricing plus below employee pricing. Incredible deals like a new 2025 Ram 1500, $17,000 offer, 1.9%, 1.9% for 72 months. Barry, that is 11 grand below employee pricing. This is in Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer.
Don't know how they do it. Don't know how it happens. 1.9% financing for 72 months.
Price sells trucks.
It's amazing. And they've got loads of them here.
All right, let me address a couple of chats on the River Region Straw chat line before we get to Terrence's great questions that he presented to us yesterday. Curtis, come on, man. You know me better than this. Wait a minute. I'm certainly wanting Auburn to represent the conference and win a national championship in baseball. You kidding me?
Says, I can already hear Longshore's voice starting to crack, thinking about Auburn winning it all.
Curtis.
Just think about it. Just think.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Philip Marshall on you here.
Okay.
Auburn won a national championship in football in 2010 and played for a national championship in 2013.
Yeah. And don't forget about those SEC championship game appearances.
SEC championship.
Yeah.
SEC championship games. Basketball has made it to the Final Four twice.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball into the Super Regionals again.
That's right. Again.
And people take pride in that. That's a big thing. That is, you know, John says, hey, listen, man, Auburn, what you're doing, I mean, you're earning that. That's stuff that you've actually done. But for a lot of Auburn fans, and I don't want to sound negative or anything, the real value is that just this year alone, there are three big sports, the three most high-profile sports in collegiate athletics: football, men's basketball, baseball.
Yep.
Auburn has been more successful than Alabama in two out of those
Well,
three.
you're right.
Auburn has made it to a Final Four this year in men's basketball. Alabama did not. They're pretty good. Auburn has made it to a super regional, possibly will go farther, although I'm here to tell you, I've seen Coastal Carolina with my own eyes. They're pretty doggone good.
Didn't they
But
win
Alabama
21
did
in
not.
a row or something?
They've won 21 in a row. They
about
haven't
that?
lost in like a month and a half.
Man.
Troy beat them 2 out of 3.
True.
That's the only series they've lost all year long. It ain't going to be easy, but Alabama didn't make it to a super regional. There's a lot of Auburn fans who take solace or they take encouragement just in that. But as somebody has been telling you for years, broaden your perspective, broaden your scope. There's more out there than just beating Alabama.
To be clear on that, I really wasn't talking about broaden your athletic championship resume with other sports. Really, I was saying broaden your product in other parts of the country in terms of scheduling. Don't be scheduling Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Clemson over and over and over. Get out of the region, which they finally did. I know they'd listen over there. It just takes a little while, but they end up, figuring it out. Yeah, maybe we need to go to Baylor. Go out to West Texas and play. They've been to L.A., played Southern Cal.
You don't believe that Baylor? Come on.
They were supposed to play UCLA, but the Bruins dropped them. That ain't Auburn's fault. So I hear what you're saying. But Curtis, voice start cracking. So you're saying that when Auburn wins it all, the next day we get on the air, I'm going to be going, oh, Barry, I can't believe Auburn won the Natty. I can't sleep at night.
It's going to be more along the lines of, I'm hearing one of those guys on the team is actually academically ineligible, or somebody swung from his heels and connected on the home run that won it with his eyes closed.
No, you're missing my go-to.
Something like
now, Barry, I'm not going to say this was probably the weakest field ever in the College World Series. I'm not going there.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go there. We'll just see how that plays out, John. We'll see that. But John from Wetumpka says, and how do you feel about this? I would rather Auburn win a championship in baseball than football. Do we really believe that? My feeling is the majority of Auburn fans, no matter what, we want to win the football national championship, and everything else is just gravy.
Well, John isn't saying, I think everybody wants to win a baseball championship more than a football championship. He's just saying he is. And I get it. I understand it. I would love to see it. I've always been such a baseball fan. So has John from Wetumpka as well. But Auburn's won football national championships before. They've done that.
It's been a minute.
Winning a baseball national championship is something that Auburn has never done before. That's, besides the fact that he's a huge baseball fan, is probably the biggest thing, just never
John excluded.
Brad Pitt, married to Jennifer Aniston, right? Pretty doggone good. Good get for you, Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Didn't
work out.
Angelina Jolie over there.
Yeah.
Says, I've been with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Somebody
Never
gets
been
tired.
with Angelina Jolie. It's the same thing with a football and a baseball championship. Been there, done that. Not saying done that. Done that.
I don't know if there's any really scientific way to get an accurate number here, but my personal belief is if you polled 1,000 Auburn fans and said in the next 6 months, maybe I guess it'd be about 6 months, 7 months. In the next 7 months, what would you rather have? A national championship in baseball or a national championship in football in Hugh Freeze's third season at Auburn? Now, my opinion, it is not even close. It is a landslide. This game is over a minute after the polls have closed.
I agree with that, because the more people are Auburn football fans and Auburn baseball fans. That's one reason why the baseball stadium seats 7,000 and the football stadium seats 87,000.
And
I'm interested in this, though. In your belief, again, there's no way we could ever quantify it. We never arrive at an absolute hard and fast total. In your belief, if you polled 1,000 Auburn fans, what would the percentage be?
Oh, wow.
90%? 97%? 52%?
I'm going to say, I've always wondered, Barry, in a political race, if you get like 52% of the vote, it's like a landslide.
No kidding.
Oh, man, the guy's blown him
of people.
Yeah, I'm going, really? 52%? I mean, if I made 52 on my math test, I'm failing. But 52 seems to be pretty big. So I'm going to go with this, since I'm factoring in, it's called the Aub factor.
John's very good at being, he's very sensitive to the Aub factor.
I'm going to say 8 out of 10.
80%.
80% want football over baseball. And I might be a little off, but I'm going to go 80%.
Well, John from Wetumpka's part of the 20%.
He is. He's a little, he's a different guy. He likes baseball. There's no doubt. It's okay.
Bama fan, same deal?
No doubt.
95%.
I mean, look, the softball natties, the gymnastics, the women's doubles tennis team, the golf team, who am I missing? I'll even say this, Final Four in basketball, whatever. At the end of the day, It's about, can we put another stone marker in the Walk of Champions that says national title? That's what they want.
This is why
give the people
Bama
what they
fans,
want.
In a generality, Alabama fan is always unhappy. It's because if it's not a national championship, it's an absolute complete waste of time. Why do we even do that? Plus,
that might be a little harsh, but I think you're on the right path.
Plus, and somebody once told me this many years ago, an actual family member of mine who, distant relation, who is an Alabama fan.
Yeah.
Alabama football fan, of course. I just can't, I just follow football. I can't follow baseball. I said, it's too many games. He says, no, you lose too much. I mean, if you lose 11 games, I think Alabama's baseball team was something like 41-14, 41-16 this year. Pretty doggone good.
Yep.
You know what Alabama fan fixates on? Man, 16 losses?
Come on.
If the men's basketball team, or God forbid, the football team loses double digits, that's just too much losing.
It is. It's too much losing. And the only way you can get any of it back or get some positive reaction from your fan base, if you're having a tough down year, losing more than you should. I mean, I think Lady Tide basketball coach Christy Curry figured it out. We got to start a fight. We got to have a fight in our next game. And it just happens to be Auburn. So let's have a fight.
And
that theme, that game has lasted. I mean, how long is, I can't tell you any other women's basketball game that I can remember but that one. It was great.
The only way that could it be better in John's mind, I mean, is there hair pulling? I mean, are there pillows involved? Was there any of that?
I think there was some fists. I mean, these ladies
I mean, there was one girl, that one girl for Alabama, big. I think she was a center because she was big. I mean, haymakers left and right. You know those girl fights in high school where they get crosswise with each other?
Yeah.
It ain't like they're Mike Tyson or Thomas Hitman Hearns or Roberto Duran. They're not clinical about it. It's just blind, eyes shut, screaming, windmilling left and right. There's collateral damage all over the place and everything. And pulling hair and grabbing shirts and twisting them over their head. All this kind of, it's anarchy there. And that's pretty much what that fight was. And John was there for it.
I'm rewinding.
Not physically there for it, but he's like,
let me look at this again. This is too good.
The only other times I've ever seen him slow down a videotape more, Lacey Underall going down the slide at the pool.
Sharon Stone and what was that movie with? What was it?
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, Basic Instinct. Yeah.
And who was it? Trooper Taylor and Michael McNeil, when they were slowing it down and asking, what did he say? What did he really say?
Yeah.
Did he say McNeil or did he say something else? So.
I know. Here, Bill from Baltimore.
Watch this girl. Look, she's coming from behind the bench over at Foster Auditorium. The stands are right behind the bench, but they're up a little bit. Yeah. She's behind the bench. She's knocking the bench over. Watch her here. Oh, this is
frame by frame.
This is great.
Bill. Now this is what you're teeing it up for me here, Bill. I appreciate your honesty. But you don't want to come with the basketball or baseball natty because that would be one more than Alabama has. Don't do that, Bill. Just giving you a little friendly advice. I know that was a deal with the Heisman Trophy. Bama never won a Heisman and blah, blah. All that got pushed out to the side. There was some other thing Auburn had over the Tide, and I think Saban, matched or eclipsed that as well. You just don't want to say that. Hey, we got one more than Bama. Just a little friendly advice. But I hear what you're saying.
Well, it all starts for Auburn baseball tonight in Auburn at the Super Regional. It's a pretty big day, pretty big week. Yep. Stanley Cup final, game 2 tonight. Oilers and the Panthers.
How about that?
Game 2 Sunday. in the NBA Finals,
More
French
on that in a minute.
Open. Final game of the Women's College World Series tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN. Belmont Stakes, Saturday, 6 o'clock on Fox. Journalism is favored. It will still be the only instance in American history where journalism actually makes money.
Yep.
Come on, you got to give me
What?
something. Yeah. And the UFL Conference Finals on Sunday. Michigan, the Panthers against the Birmingham Stallions, and the DC Defenders against the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Of course, the Stallions have won 2 titles in the UFL, going for a third. Barry, I would hope they could get maybe a nice crowd there at Protective Stadium. I'm a little tired of Stallions games looking like UAB games.
I wonder what it'll be.
Yeah, they need some fan support there. Even though the UFL is expanding, they're going to bring in some more teams over the next couple of years. I believe next season 2, the season after that 2 more. But they got to get some fan support. Need to have that. Also, speaking of that, the Montgomery Biscuits have signed a 15-year renewal.
Saw that.
With the city of Montgomery. So that's good news for Biscuit baseball fans. Glad to see that. The pool scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Phoebe Cates. John, you're right. That's one that probably got rewound a couple of times as well.
Yes.
Not Hamilton in the bathroom.
No.
Right before that. Was it after that? Was it before or after that?
Yeah.
I can't remember. But anyway, that was a good one. That was a good one with Phoebe Cates. You're right about that.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm down on the Stallions. I'm going Battlehawks.
Really?
Former Troy quarterback Brandon Silvers.
I saw that. Yeah.
Started down the stretch for St. Louis, might get the start at quarterback for the Battlehawks.
Is that St. Louis?
Yep.
Didn't A.J. McCarron play for them? I think he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of A.J., real quick as we go to break, Mary, I know you hate it when like this, live baseball, college World Series, college women's softball, what NBA Finals, it wasn't on yet. I forgot what channel had the Alabama Notre Dame game for the national championship 2012 maybe on last night. Did I watch a little bit of it? I got to admit, the first drive I did watch.
That was about the only drive where anything was in doubt.
Eddie Lacy breaks off about a 30-yard for a touchdown.
A little bit if you're watching, the goal line stand game or the Alabama-Texas game when Colt McCoy gets hurt. Now, I understand that. But that game was like 35-0 or something.
It was
at one point.
Yeah,
and
it was.
You still watching that?
Well, I watched the first series. I knew what was happening. I said, how did this game start? I can't remember. You could tell quick it was over.
Yeah,
All right.
Let's take a break. It's about 7 minutes left in our first live hour here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, in association with Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. And June is really a fun time out at Marguerite's, Marianne. The birthstone, I believe, is pearls. And I know you've got a lot of pearls.
Yes, we've got them right here. So exciting. Lots of pearls. It's Pearl Month. Yes.
It is Pearl Month, and Marguerite's has plenty of pearls for you to check out. Also, June's a big month for weddings. It's so wedding gifts, birth gift, push presents, I know are very popular as well. Tell us about some of those great ideas.
Sure. Well, guys, just so you're not caught off guard, there are certain expectations these days, or maybe not expectations. That sounds bad. But the person you love would definitely appreciate a gift for certain occasions, like a wedding gift, the wedding band, the engagement ring. Those are great, but just a little something that her maid of honor can hand her, and so she can unwrap it. It's a big picture situation. Write a sweet little letter, but we have those great gifts at Marguerite's, wedding day gifts. And ladies, if you're listening, we have great watches and cufflinks for guys too. But guys, come in, think about it. Great classic gifts, something that they can remember from their wedding day. Diamond studs, a tennis bracelet, pearl earrings, pearl studs, those types of things. Just really great gifts, as well as push presents, which if your wife goes into labor or granddad's to be, if your daughter does, it's just a sweet gift to commemorate maybe their initial or their birthstone. We can help you. We have lots of great options in stock. And of course, we always can make it for you if you have something special in mind.
You know, that's a great point, Marianne. Lots of great options. And Marianne just laid them all out there for you, folks. There are so many great jewelry items, so many great gift items for you to check out there at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Let our viewers and listeners know, Marianne, where are you located there on Vaughn Road?
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. We are open 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
It's a big month out at Marguerite's in June, so go by and see Marianne and all the staff at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, a couple of minutes to the top of the hour. Longshore at McKnight here live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Come by and see our friends today, tomorrow, throughout the weekend. Employee pricing plus means below employee pricing here on all of the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram vehicles here at Stivers in Prattville, where price sells cars and trucks. All right, Barry, yesterday, Terrence, and I'm waiting for a chat from Mal. I'm sure Mal's going to join us later about maybe what happened to the Braves yesterday. Maybe Mal, maybe.
7 runs in the 9th. Braves lose at home 11-10. Yeah.
Are you saying it's over? It's done? They're out?
Done. I'm done.
Okay. All right, Terrence, yesterday with a couple of great questions about our feelings about college football, postseason, things of that nature. The formats for the college football playoff, what does he think it should be? Maybe some scheduling issues. You know, Barry, there's a lot of out there, a lot of numbers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blah, 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 whatever. You know, automatic bids for the Big Ten and the SEC and all these other ones kind of sprinkle in around it. I know the powers that be probably don't like this. They didn't like what Lane Kiffin proposed. They usually don't. But I thought Kiffin had a good idea. If we're going to have a 16-team playoff, just let the best 16 teams get in. I mean, why? I mean, I got to think they're going to be probably 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 SEC teams are going to be in the top 16. So why not just do it that way, Greg Sankey? I mean, to me, that gives you – I know you're rolling the dice a little bit from the guaranteed slots, but I got to think the SEC is going to have a lot of teams in that 16-team playoff, as is the Big Ten. But this automatic stuff, I guess I got a bad taste in my mouth with SMU and Boise.
Well, the problem, I'm sure down at Miramar Beach after Kiffin, it was part of a press conference where, you know, he was meeting with the media, he was on camera, and he said that. And after it was over with, as Kiffin leaves the press area at Miramar Beach, he's walking down the hallway. Sankey's coming the other way. Never say a word to each other. Sankey gives him the fist bump, and he just walks right on by. And everything. Those are the talking points right now. What this means is 2 things. And I get it. At the time he said it, I'm thinking, all right, 16 best teams, let's go for it. But that means 2 things. That means the SEC has no limit. I mean, they can lobby and put 8 in there.
Okay.
SEC meets with ESPN and say, you're paying how much more? For all that? We could fill out half that field right now. Do you want the number 6 team in the SEC or the number 1 team in the Sun Belt?
Well, I think I'm with you, and I think the TV
they would pack that thing. In other words,
the networks probably like the guarantee, but there again, I still just, and it is a gamble. I mean, you don't know.
Trust.
But I got to think the SEC and the Big Ten are going to be just fine, particularly the SEC. I think that the Big Ten, you get to past those 4 or 5 top teams, it gets a little diluted from that point on. So I'm not sure the Big Ten would go for it. But Barry, in a 16-team format like Kiffin presented, is that not better for teams like Troy and conferences like the Sun Belt or the MAC or wherever? Because if they get a team that's really hot, and they're one of the top 16. They're getting in no matter what.
I'd have to figure out how they're deciding who the top 16 are. That's the other point about it. How do you decide? You know, Kiffin says, just get the 16 best teams. Sounds great. How do you get them? How do you define them? How do you say who's the best? You don't just say, all right, John, take 5 minutes here. Oh, you're driving? Okay, we'll just rattle them off the top of your head, and we'll write them down, and those are the top 16 teams. That's the other point about it. Who's to say that they won't say, oh, yeah, the number 6 team in the SEC, obviously better than Troy, who's won the Sun Belt or whatever like that.
I get it.
That's how you get it. Now, as far as what we're talking about with all of that in terms of the 16 best teams, the problem last year wasn't that Boise State got in or SMU got in. SMU's a Power 5 school, by the way, now, Power 4 school. It was the seeding.
Yeah,
that was what it was. There's no doubt
quick.
Boise was one of the best teams in the country last year. There's no doubt SMU, although they wet the bed in the playoff, they were one of the best teams out there. I don't think, well, there may be a doubt. I don't think there's much of a doubt. Sorry, Bama fans. I know you have them mad on about SMU because they took Alabama's spot.
Well, but, did they really, Barry? I mean, look, I don't want to get on this horse again, but if you lose to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt as a double-digit favorite, you don't deserve to be in the playoff. Why don't more people feel like I do on that one?
On everything.
Basically. Well, true. Good point. That's excellent.
So that was the issue there. I just, just get the 16 best teams. Kiffin said that. You're thinking, all right, no seeding. I mean, no automatic qualifiers. Who does the seeding? There's still going to be people that are, this does not fix everything. There's people who are going to be ticked off because, wait a minute, we're an 11 seed? My gosh, we're a 6 seed at the most. And number 2, I don't care if it's a 4-team playoff, an 8-team playoff, a 12-team playoff, a 16-team, or a 64-team. That first team out is going to be ticked.
They are.
It's not going to be this solves everything. No, it'll never solve everything.
Well, here's my
Troy was the first team out in the NCAA baseball tournament, and it was one of the biggest travesties I've ever seen in intercollegiate athletics.
When it's
never going to be.
When it's a 4-team playoff, I can see how the 5th team would be a little chapped. Golly, how'd we get left out? Man, we're just, there's only 4 teams. We should have been one of them. You got 16. If you're number 17, I don't want to hear from you.
See, this is what John said.
Don't want to hear from you.
This is what he said. He said, I mean, so what if you didn't get in? So what if you're number 17?
Yeah.
You weren't going to win the national championship anyway. Exactly. You were just in as a participation trophy, just because we had to fill out the field so we can have first-round games for Alabama and Ohio State and Notre Dame to play. That's all you were going to be there for anyway. Yeah. You weren't going to win anything.
No, we let you come through the VIP line and get all, you feeling good about yourself. And then 60 minutes into competition, oh, wow, did we really want to do this?
Yeah.
So,
you got the bouncer outside, the velvet robe. She's got a clip. You're not on the list. What? My brother knows the owner. Yeah. Well, so you're left out there. You're peeking in. Boy, everybody looks like they're having a good time. Man, I was gonna go introduce myself to the singer. She ain't interested in you with your hush puppies and your jacket.
That was kind of one of the reasons
why
I
do anything anyway
to expand the playoff to 16 teams. Let more people in. Yeah, let the party get bigger. And if you're that 17th team, hey, 17. Look, don't complain. I mean, if you couldn't be one of the top 16s, I don't want to hear from you. But if you're number 5, I can see where you'd be a little testy. It's kind of like the 65th or whatever, how many teams you got in basketball. I don't want to hear about the first 4 out. Well, we should have got in. No, you shouldn't have. You should have played better.
Here's what we did for you guys. We saved you an L.
Yeah.
Instead of being 8-5, you're 8-4. You're welcome. Yeah.
Good point. So, Terrence, I'm kind of leaning toward the Kiffin model. I know it isn't going to happen, but I like it because I'm getting confused with all these 5-4-3-2-1 combinations that they're coming up with to try to set the playoff. Big Ten, SEC, they can't agree either. I don't know. It's crazy. Let me tell you another
Terrence saying another issue.
another issue, Terrence, that you touched on. I know this might surprise some people, but I'm over this 8 or 9 game conference schedule business. But there is a caveat to it. There is a caveat to it.
I never thought I would see that day.
Yeah. I'd rather have non-conference games, but I'm not lying awake at night all tossing and turning about it. 8 games is fine with me, and if the Big Ten doesn't like it, too bad. But one school in particular, two athletic directors in 2 schools in particular, Georgia and Alabama,
Right.
have already aggressively scheduled into the future with 2 Power 5 non-conference games. I would expect them to continue to have those teams on their schedule and certainly plan on playing them over the next decade. Because to me, if the conference is going to kick and scream and moan and complain, oh, we can't play non-conference games, we might get beat, and we might not be able to go to a bowl game. Okay, fine. Knock yourself out. Then to me, Georgia and Alabama are going to separate themselves even further from the rest of the league. And Texas, to some degree, obviously they're playing at Ohio State this year, and I'm sure they've scheduled well in the future too. LSU has done a good job with it. A&M's, there are others. But Auburn, Alabama, and Georgia for the next decade have scheduled 2 Power 5 non-conference opponents. Great. Keep it up. Because your fans want it, the TV networks want it, and to me, it separates you from the rest of the conference that only wants the 8 games. You still got 2 other games that are really sellable. They're marquee matchups. And I don't want to hear this. Well, we might lose. Well, you know what? You might win too.
Here's the thing, though, is I know some of the fans, and I get John's logic. He knows that if you expand the SEC schedule, you can't just expand it to only playing Georgia, LSU, Auburn, Florida, and Tennessee. You've got to also, every once in a while, you're getting Vanderbilt in. You got to host Mississippi State. And John says, I'd much rather have a really good non-conference game than have to have Vanderbilt rotate on the home schedule.
Pretty much.
But also, on the other side of things, if you do, this is, and he's right, this is the sticking point with a 16-team playoff, is the Big Ten is saying, well, why should the SEC get all of these extra bids when they don't even play non-conference games like we do and like the Big 12 does and everything? That's the big sticking point. But on the other side of things, what about something like this? That happens in 2031.
Yeah.
And this is not a great example. Georgia, their non-conference schedule, I don't know if it's in the legislature or whatever, always has to include Georgia Tech. So, I mean, that's in there. They got Georgia Tech scheduled until the end of time, right?
Yeah.
But in 2031, Georgia, their non-conference schedule, and they only have 3 non-conference games scheduled, at Ohio State, Western Carolina.
The Mountaintops? Catamounts?
The Catamounts.
Catamounts.
And then at Georgia Tech.
Okay. I mean,
they only have 1 home non-conference game scheduled that year because every other year they got to play at Georgia Tech, which is no big deal for them because it's in Atlanta.
Sure.
But you're losing that revenue. 2027, they go to Florida State, host Louisville, to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina. I mean, they've got these in-state rivalries with teams in different leagues, and I get that. So that's their built-in non-conference. Got to play it. Georgia Tech every now and then is kind of good. Should have beat Georgia. Was it last year? Had Georgia beat?
Oh, yeah, because Joe Tessitore kept saying over and over and over again that Georgia's playing for a berth in the college football playoff. Joe.
So I get that. But and I get it. You know, I can't tell you I'm thrilled that Oklahoma State's on Alabama's future schedule. I am thrilled that Boston College is. Say what you will. That's a long story. I don't want to get into that today. I think Georgia Tech's on Alabama's future schedule. Could live without that.
Oh, the chick grading game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other, but I know Ohio State and Notre Dame are on Alabama's future schedules, which I think that's extremely exciting. But, okay, if they don't want to go to 9, okay, whatever. But I think Georgia and Alabama and other schools need to be aggressive in their non-conference scheduling. Speaking of the Big Ten, though, Barry, they're all high and mighty about the 9 conference. If you could quickly pull up this year's Penn State schedule.
All right.
Now, I'm high on Penn State. They got 16 returning starters that are seniors, starting quarterbacks coming back. A lot of people high on the Nittany Lions, but they're non-conference. If you could reel off who they're playing non-conference, Penn State this year.
Again, they got 9 conference games.
Yeah.
Non-conference, they host Nevada. They host Florida International, FIU. Ooh, tongue pop. Wow. And they host Villanova.
How about that?
Before an off week.
Yeah.
When they start Big Ten play at home against the Oregon Ducks.
So how about
their first 4 weeks, Nevada, FIU, Villanova, off week.
So don't give me this 9 conference game business, because your 3 non-cons are terrible. And I'm sure who else? They got Northwestern, terrible.
At home.
Yep, Minnesota, not good.
They don't play Minnesota.
Indiana, flash in the pan. They'll suck this year.
At
Rutgers. I mean, don't give me this Big Ten, how great you are. Now, I think Ohio State does play Texas. I want to say Michigan's schedule's a little weak this year. I know they go kind of back and forth. They'll play a big-time non-con, and then they'll go into this 3-game stretch with a bunch of alphabet city schools.
Michigan's first 3 games, New Mexico, at Oklahoma.
Okay.
Central Michigan.
I bet, Barry, if you went through the remainder of the Big Ten, now obviously Wisconsin's coming to Alabama this year,
right.
But teams like Minnesota, Indiana, Northwestern, Purdue, Rutgers, Maryland, they're playing a bunch of crappy non-con. Oh, he's got it right here. Look at this.
I don't. Where's my Big Ten schedule?
You've got to have a Big Ten schedule.
I got Big 12, ACC, SEC. Hang on, this
got to be in there.
There's no way I didn't print the Big Ten.
But I mean, those teams aren't playing anybody worth a flip. Even though I do think Alabama's got a home and away with Minnesota in the next decade. For why they play? What's the connection? Minnesota. You heard that governor ranting?
Trying to defend the state of Alabama's honor after Minnesota boat raced. I wasn't
going to bring that up. Didn't Minnesota beat Alabama in a bowl game under Dubos's?
Was it Dubose or was it Joe Kynes? Oh, that was Oklahoma.
I think it was the Music City Bowl, and Minnesota beat Alabama. I don't know. Somebody help me out with that one. So,
I know Virginia Tech did. Jim
yeah.
Druckenmiller at the Music City Bowl when it was like 5 below wind chill.
So how about this? We put a bow on this for you, Terrence. College football playoff scheduling. I think you know where we stand here. But on the 16-team format that Kiffin proposed, if you just look back over the last, 10, 20 years of how many national champions came from the SEC, the Big Ten, and the ACC. And you're thinking, what about the Big 12? Who was the last Big 12 team to win the national championship?
Nebraska?
Well, I know
Texas under Vince Young?
In the Rose Bowl against Southern Cal?
Yeah, to break Southern Cal's 40-something game winning streak. So
the Big 12, I don't want to hear you crowing. We're just going to let you come in anyway. But those are the conferences that are going to win it anyway. So,
which is why John says, don't give me all this. I finished 17th in a 16-team playoff. You weren't going to win it anyway. You were just going to show up.
But the great, nice-hearted guy that I am, Barry, I am opening it up for everybody. And there again, is it easier for Troy to get in if you have the best 16 teams or this 5-4-3-2-1 mumbo jumbo they're throwing out
there? It's better to have the automatic qualify.
You know,
if you win your league, you're in.
Well, I get it, but do you really? I wonder. I'm a little concerned about as we get further down the road and the networks are getting more involved. Are they really going to give that one bid to a non-Power 5? I wonder about that. I'm a
I
little
do
concerned.
too, believe me.
So I'm
Believe
thinking if
me.
you have the best 16, it doesn't matter what conference
Well,
you're in. You think, well, hey, look at Troy, undefeated, won the Sun Belt. Got to get them in.
hey, we wrap this up with a little light fist tap because that's where my microphone is. Don't want to blow you away. A chest bump to our man Terrence. That's good stuff, man. We
Yeah, it
appreciate
is.
it. That's one of the things that we have always tried to develop in our River Region Straw chat line. We love hearing from you guys. We love knowing that you're listening, and we love the back and forth and everything. If every once in a while we get something like that from Terrence, which is actually a program thing that we can take and run with it, man, give us some programming ideas. Hey, man, why don't you? I think you ought to talk about this, or give us something that we love hearing that from you guys on the River Region Straw chat line. Call Kenny at 669-5950.
And I want to know what our Troy viewers and listeners think about it. Does Troy have a better chance to make the playoff if you just pick the top 16, or if you go into this guaranteed spot jumbo that they're trying to throw at us?
Dorf, Jason, Neil, any of you guys, love to hear from you. We're live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We're in Prattville. Weather's looking nice. Should be a great weekend for car buying. Price sells cars. We're on Cobbs Ford Road, Prattville, Alabama, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, maybe not. Maybe some internet issues. That leads me to something I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
The bowl schedule was released yesterday. Did you see that?
I did.
I was okay with it, I guess.
By the way, the only thing that I noticed is that the Bahamas Bowl isn't going to be played in the Bahamas this year, which is like the third time in 4 years or something like that, or the
stadium renovations.
Second time in third year, the stadium's not ready or something like that.
Yeah.
They're going to play it in Charlotte or something.
Are they still going to call it the Bahamas Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
I guess they will. They had the Rose Bowl in Dallas one year. So the first games are going to be on the 13th of December, the Cricket Celebration Bowl and the LA Bowl.
Hosted by Gronk.
Hosted by Gronk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the, I don't want to skip ahead here, but you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Woo, excuse me. The Snoop Dogg Bowl.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg Bowl. I cannot wait. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
Yes.
Which will be in Tucson, which is, I mean, Snoop is big in Tucson.
I think he is in the desert there.
Yeah. The Birmingham Bowl will be on Monday, December 29th, which is a bowl game that if Hugh Freeze and Auburn plays in that, he may not be the coach by then. But yeah, so it all begins. The bowl series begins. The bowl schedule begins on Saturday, December the 13th. The LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk, and the Cricket Celebration Bowl. The next Tuesday, December 16th, is the Salute to Veterans Bowl here in Montgomery.
Okay, so that's my question. To me, that seems a little early than normal.
Well, normally the date is about right, maybe a day or two early. But I'm always used to the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl in Montgomery being the very first bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's number 2 here.
And I want to say, Barry, there was a time where the game was part of 4 games on that day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that led into the Las Vegas Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
The first big day for the bowls. It's different. It's different because, again, Tuesday, December 16th is the Salute to Veterans Bowl. Then on Saturday, December 20th, boom, college football playoff first round games. Actually, the playoff games begin on Friday, the 19th.
Yeah.
With the first game, and then 3 games on Saturday in the playoffs.
So here
you want to get those in before the college football playoffs begin, because I suspect afterwards a lot of fans are going to lose focus on those other bowls.
That makes sense. And there again, I'm not asked about this. They don't get my opinion on it.
It's a shame.
It probably depends on the teams that are involved from the Sun Belt and the MAC. But a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, I think is a little odd. To me, and there again, you're filling a window. It is on ESPN. It's on the mothership. They're getting the big national focus there. It's the only game on that night. I don't know what's going to be on between 6 and 7 or 6 and 8 o'clock that night. Why they couldn't kick the game off a little earlier, 8 p.m. kickoff. Seems a little late, but that's just me. But it is the only game that day. But 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night, I guess you got to take what they're giving you.
Which is what it is. Which is why.
So there again, I made a prediction a couple of Fridays ago. Troy will be in the Salute to Veterans Bowl. It's kind of like PM's going to retire. I just keep doing it every year.
Bill and Hillary are going to get
one year. It's going to hit.
Yeah.
I know Troy would rather be in the playoff, but we'll see. But if Troy's playing that game, okay, 8 o'clock Tuesday night, no problem. Good. We're in.
A lot of Trojan fans will be there, no question.
But if it's Tuesday before Christmas at 8 o'clock, and let's say it's Texas Southern or
Texas State against
or Lambeau,
Northern Illinois.
That could be a tough draw. Tough for the crowds, tough for the fan bases, as a matter of fact. But as we all know, ESPN's more looking into programming and not so much. To me, fans are a bonus. It's great for the organizers of the bowl game. I know the folks here want as many people as they can get. They want the community to be involved in it. I certainly understand it, completely agree. I just think that's a little odd for a day and time to kick the game off.
Yep. But you take what they give you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Jason, my buddy, he says, as y'all stated, the top 16 is subjective. Who chooses the 16? And would they leave out a Troy or somebody like them? Those are my concerns, Jason.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I would think they wouldn't leave them out, but who knows? Don't know.
Well, let's try again real quick. See if we can go to break. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. It was worth a try.
Yeah, I think we got some internet issues back in network control, but that's no big. But Barry, that leads me to this section of the program. You teased it earlier today, and I didn't stop you. It was a little early, but
no. He didn't do that this time. He just said, "What this Mr. Patience over here decides to let me go at it for a little while." But
last night, should I get the last? Yeah. Last night. The Phantom, after coming off a baseball win, and somebody goes, Phantom, you need to stay with the baseball. I said, okay, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But we went NBA. Now, were there times last night during this 4-quarter game that some of you viewers and listeners were going, that Phantom, he missed on this one. 8 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Thunder up at home by like 15, 16 points.
You got some of those more snide and smug viewers that say, I personally knew the moment the Phantom came out with his daily dog that Indiana plus 9.5. I mean, I could tell immediately, the Phantom, you really swung and missed on this one. And here, look at this. Indiana's down 15 in the 4th quarter. Phantom. I personally knew that was way off base. And then at the very end, when Tyrese Halliburton hit that shot with 0.2 of a second left, I knew it. I never doubted the Phantom. Never felt that was ever in doubt, really.
Now, if you followed the Phantom's daily dog over the last couple of months, you'll know that, okay, have there been some wins against the spread that have kind of been, let's say, overly exciting? That a lot happened in a short period of time, so to speak.
There have.
Towards the end of the game, that some people can, I don't know, bust a remote up against the wall or stomp outside and start talking to themselves, and wifey comes out and goes, honey, is everything okay? Oh, it's fine. We're all good. Sometimes those things happen. Was last night one of those types of comebacks? Well,
Thunder was up 94-79 with 9:42 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But if you know, and the Phantom knows this about the Indiana Pacers, 7-point deficit in the final 35 seconds of Game 5 in round 1. 7-point deficit erased in the final minute of Game 2 in round 2. In the Eastern Finals, down 14, 3 minutes to go in Game 1. And then 9 points down, final 3 minutes of Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Phantom says if anybody can pull it off, it'll be the Indiana Pacers, because this is like the 4th time they've done it in the postseason.
So I don't want to sit here and gloat and get on my high horse. I'm just giving you the rundown of what happened last night, which, of course, resulted in a win for the Phantom. We were catching 9.5 in the game. Didn't need it. Pacers win the game outright.
Halliburton hits the shot, 0.2 of a second to go. Pacers take their first lead of the entire game.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Hey, don't matter when they were leading.
Yeah.
Don't matter.
And if he had missed the shot, the Phantom said,
yeah, okay.
Big deal.
Hate it for you. But the Pacers ended up covering and winning the game outright. So let's move on. Let's move on to today. We're going to go back to Major League Baseball, Barry. This one I had to double check on. I said, this just doesn't seem right. So I'm going to let you help me out with this.
Here we go.
We're going Major League Baseball. You know pitching matchups.
Yeah.
You know these pitchers. I mentioned it, Barry, yesterday, that if the Braves lose and have to get on a plane and fly across country, there's going to be a lot of soul searching on
especially the manner in which they lost.
And I wasn't factoring that in, Barry. I just thought if they lose, I wasn't expecting a 9th inning collapse of 7 runs in the 9th inning to lose 11-10. That's one of those you start going into the lavatory at 37,000 feet and look at yourself in the mirror and go, well, what's up with us? Come on, what do we got to do? Hoping that genie pops up in the mirror and starts talking to you to tell you what you need to do to get out of your slump.
You got that little devil on one shoulder that says, you just suck. You're terrible. I don't know why you're still playing baseball. But on that other side, you've got that little white-robed angel, and that little white-robed angel is saying, he's right. You do suck.
Or, wow.
Give up the game.
Keep pressing on. You'll get there. Well, Barry, tonight at 9:15, the Atlanta Braves are going up against the San Francisco Giants. And San Francisco is a home underdog tonight.
What?
Against a Braves team that's coming off a humiliating loss in a cross-country trip. Braves they're minus 135 tonight. You can catch the Giants at plus 115. Now,
Giants are 7 games over 500 right now. Braves are 7 games under.
I got to tell you this, Barry. I do not know a lot about these pitchers, but I will tell you this. Anybody that's got a guy on the mound with the last name Birdsong, I'm in. Not Otis Birdsong, who used to play in the NBA for the Phoenix Suns, I believe.
My man.
But I've got a really good friend named Chris Birdsong. I'm going with the Birdsong name tonight. I don't know what this guy's done all year.
Right-hander Hayden Birdsong.
Taking him.
I don't know that if he's grinding, he's got a 1-run lead in the 7th. His pitch count is up over 100 and his arm's tired and he's got to be a little. If your name is Hayden Birdsong, you probably tend towards softness, I would think.
I'm telling you.
Birdsong, 3-1 record, 2.37 earned run average. The Braves go with right-hander Spencer Schwellenbach. He's 4-4.
Schwellenbach?
3.13.
What kind of name is that?
Schwellenbach.
Huh. Is he any good?
Yeah, 4-4. ERA at 3.13. Had some arm issues, but He's been
Wait a minute. Birdsong's 3-1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hasn't
I love
pitched
this.
as much though.
I like this guy. So I'm taking the Giants at home tonight, Barry, at plus 115, hosting the Braves. So late first pitch, 9:15 Central Time. But Barry, there's more. Here it is on a Friday.
Right.
We're giving you two selections today, just like we did last week, and they both hit. Both of them hit.
All right.
We're going to go back to the NBA on Sunday. It is game 2 of the NBA Finals.
Still in Oklahoma City.
It is still in Oklahoma City. Both these teams get a couple of days rest, a couple of days to think about what happened last night. Barry, they can think all they want. They can think all they want. But I'm going with the Pacers again, this time catching 10.5. I mean, Vegas just is not believing that. Don't they know? You know,
it's a lesson to be learned here.
I've been on this Pacers team for months now. Not a lot of, no-name players, but they're deep. I mean, I'm telling you, they got 7 or 8 guys that can fill it up.
Yeah, they're also really good defensively.
Good defensively. There again, they might get behind double digits one point in time, probably will. I'm not saying they're winning the game outright. It'll be nice if they do, but they're catching 10.5 on Sunday at OKC. We are taking the Indiana Pacers again, game 2, plus 10.5. So they got a double dip this week, folks, with the San Francisco Giants tonight at plus 115 against the Braves. And then we're taking the Pacers plus 10.5 on Sunday. So what do you think about that?
I like it. Particularly the Braves Giants one. I'm disgusted.
So somebody did just text me, Barry. He said, don't look now, but the Diamondbacks just scored again.
7 runs in the 9th inning to win by 1. Unbelievable.
I'm telling you, that might, I don't know. They're going to go one of 2 ways. Now, I'm a little surprised, Barry. You're already down on the Braves. This is not like you.
Already?
This is not like
They're
you.
not hitting. Their pitching's been okay, except in relief, obviously. I don't know. This team just doesn't have it. Hey, I'm still watching them. I'm still rooting for them, but I don't think it'll happen. So
I've heard you say that about the Jags, but not the Braves.
Well, I see at least one win in the Phantom's Daily Dog this weekend. At least one. Phantom ain't going 0-2 in his Daily Dogs over the weekend. 1-1 at the very worst.
Okay.
I'm picking 2-0.
That's a non-losing weekend.
Oh, yeah, 1-1 is a non-losing weekend. But you want to have a non-losing weekend? You want to pick up a win this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
You need to be where we are right now.
Well,
Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
Listen to this, Barry. Range Pro on the River Region Straw chat line today. Range Pro says Stivers, Dodge, where Price sells cars, but also a fantastic service department that I can personally recommend. Also sells cars. You're right. Cars and trucks.
Service department helps
Range
sell
Pro,
vehicles as well.
Yeah, they do. Range Pro has a Ram 1500. I've seen it. Because when I go out to a Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road, which I probably will tomorrow for that grilled group or poor boy.
Yeah, Saturday lunch. John's a man of habit.
I always see Range Pro's Dodge 1500, Ram 1500 right there. So he is a loyal Ram 1500 owner, and he brings it up here to Stivers for all of his service. You know what he's told me before, Barry? I mean, it's like he said, you just crank it up. I mean, it just, you just change the oil, rotate the tires, give it a little TLC, as you should with anything, and you're good to go.
Good to go.
So Range Pro, we appreciate that. Obviously, also I get the sense Range Pro is not a Canadian Open fan. You know, it is the Canadian Open this week.
Well, Scheffler's not playing in this.
And they're getting
it'll be Harris English or somebody.
Yeah. Who's your guy? I know you like that guy. Even if he was just Harris English the fourth.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be even better?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out which one I like better, Harris English or Hayden Birdsong.
Telling you, you're going to like him tonight. I don't know if you're going to stay up that late. I promise you I'm not.
Yeah.
But is that not right? Should I be staying up, or is it cheating if I just wake up tomorrow and go, oh, look at that, Braves lost again?
Have you ever done that, though? I mean, back in the day, if you were spending some time in a state that in which gaming was legal.
Yeah.
And you know you got something on this one tonight, but man, I've had a long day. I've been out playing 18 and it's 90 outside. I'm going to bed. You wake up in the morning and you're like, hey, another winner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot all about that. Oh, how about me? Yeah.
I'm sure I've done that. I can't say I haven't done it. You know, when I've been out there at a sports book, I usually, my day is kind of planned to watch the college and then the NFL during the day because they kick off at 10 in the morning out there.
Sweet.
So you kind of get the football action over with. You can hit the tables later in the afternoon and into the evening. Here's where they got you, though. These guys are smart out there in Vegas. And I believe it's the same way in Biloxi. I know it is. In Biloxi, the same way. You can now at a black, well, really all the tables, but they started it out with blackjack tables. And they got the blackjack pit there. You know, they got, 8 to 10 tables kind of in an area they call the blackjack pit area.
Uh-huh.
They put up flat screen TVs above the each individual table. So as you're playing blackjack, you're looking up at the game that you got to bet on, really, which is bad because you're not really paying attention.
That's why they do it. That's
So
why they do it, to distract you, to say,
so you need to be looking at all the other cards that are on the table. I'm not a card counter, but I do like to know what other cards are out on the table. And if you're not paying attention, you can't, believe me, you can't go, whoa, hold on, get a big field goal here. You got to be playing. Hit it or stand, hit her. So you might be not, just I'm good. When you should have hit.
You think, oh, well, no, what was I doing? Come on.
So they're, not only.
And the guy misses the field goal.
Yeah.
Doesn't help you out either.
So you got 2 losers in like 10 seconds. Yeah. Woo, I'm telling you. Then he goes, cocktail, sir. Yeah, make it a double.
Yeah. Keep them coming. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they got it figured out there. There was another one that caught me. Oh, yeah, Tobias from out in Arizona chatting today on the River Region Straw chat line. He's chiming in on the playoff possibilities.
The Big 12 wanting a 5-11 model is foolish. In 24, BYU beat SMU on the road, but wasn't considered for a college football playoff spot. They'll be lucky to get 2 teams in.
Yeah, that's why I kind of mentioned the Big 12, Tobias. I mean, when's the last time they won a national championship? And I know what people are saying. Yeah, you can't look at you got to look at the now. Yeah, we did. It's called SMU and Boise. We don't need to be looking at the now. I mean, if I was Sankey and Panini, Petiti, I'd be going, Big 12, just stay over there. Well, we got to give you something, but don't be acting all hot.
I'm telling you,
Come on.
That's like that conciliere over there, or, that Goomba over there, I know. You had a big week with the numbers. Give us a break. Big boys are counting right here. We'll give you your cut. Well, we'll give it to you.
Yeah. Remember the guy in Goodfellas that was always pestering
Morty. Was he the guy that took the ice pick in the back of the head?
They had the toupee.
Yeah. And Jimmy Conway kept saying, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I know I'll be fine. Where's my money? Give me my money. And then all of a sudden he ends up sitting in the car seat in front of Joe Pesci, and that was it for him.
Yeah, if I was one of those guys in that mob, I would probably. To me, it's smart to just not talk a lot.
That's what John wants out of the Big 12.
Yeah, just don't talk. Just take what they're giving you.
You'll get something. We'll take care of it.
You get to hang out with the fellas. You get to go to all the good shows, and they put you a table up front.
You get to dress nice.
Henny Youngman telling a couple of jokes. You're right there.
Once in a while, Palm Springs, you're good.
Don't buy your wife a pink Cadillac or a fur coat. Don't do anything stupid like that. Just keep your mouth shut. Keep a low profile, undercover, because Paulie don't want to hear it.
He don't want to, Paulie, if it gets to Paulie, you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So just, Big 12, just tap the brakes. It's all going to be good. Maybe we'll put you in witness protection later on down the line.
Yeah, where you have to, eat macaroni and ketchup.
And walk outside to get your newspaper and live like everybody else.
So it has finally come. We hear from Mal.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
John, I'm a little confused. Are the Braves still hot?
Wait a minute, that's also a Goodfellas line. I'm a little confused here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The Braves are 27-34 and 11 games out. Oh, and if they didn't lose the first 7 games, they're 500 right now. Braves fans, the first 7 counted. They did count. Yeah. Even if the Braves didn't get off to that horrendous 0-7 start, they're still a 500 team right now.
Yeah, Mal.
Mal, in case you're just joining the program and decided to type in right there, you were called out in the first hour. John says, man, I cannot wait to hear from Mal. Yeah, we've been waiting for yours.
Yeah, Mal, any predictions on the series against San Francisco this weekend, if you want to throw that out there? Also, Chris the Bammer says I should check the scores when I get up in the middle of the night. Well, he puts it another way. To go to the bathroom.
Yes.
I've really been trying, sometimes you just got to, but I'm trying not to get up in the middle of the night because I have a hard time going back to sleep.
Not me.
So I'm thinking, I'm just not going to get up. I'm going to tough it out, so to speak. And usually it works out. I'm okay. It's usually just kind of a false alarm.
Having to lie in bed and having a full bladder.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a sure recipe for going back to sleep.
Yeah.
You're
well,
right.
The problem is when I go, wait a minute, that wasn't really that. I didn't really need to do that. I mean, it's not. Maybe I didn't need to go as bad as I thought. Maybe. Well, it just didn't. Anyway,
can't believe we're in that subject. But here's the worst.
But here's what I'm saying.
Is when you're going in.
Yeah.
And it's dark, and you don't want to wake up the missus and everything like that. And you think, oh, yeah, man, I got to check that. I forgot about that game. And you're in the bathroom, and you look, and you thought, I got to go back out and get my readers. Yeah. Hang on. I can't read this.
You're right. Or, Chris, here's the deal. Here's the most important part of it. You do not want to check the score because if it doesn't go your way, you ain't going back to sleep. You're going to be sitting there going, how did this happen?
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Why did I even do that?
When I went to bed, they were up by 15 with 8 minutes to go.
And then you're lying in bed, you're looking up at the ceiling, eyes wide open, thinking,
yeah,
I'm done. I'm never doing this again.
That's right.
I am done. I am now a reformed sports bettor. And then the next night, sure enough, you look and say, okay, who we got? We got 7.5. Not 7.5. See if we can buy it down to 7. Yeah, right back at it.
So that's my that's my deal.
Yeah.
Just don't want to. If you've got to get up, and I get it. Usually, when you get to our age, you're getting up in the middle of the night. I got friends of mine getting up multiple times a night. I'm thinking, whoa, hold on now, multiple times. You better go see the doctor or something. But you do not want to check the phone. And it goes back, Barry, to years ago when maybe before advancements in telephones and whatnot, you would actually have to get the remote and turn it on ESPN to get that last 2 minutes of the Hawaii Fresno State game.
Yeah.
Which was ending up about 2 a.m. And if things weren't going your way there again, you're not going back to sleep. One of the worst things was Monday Night Football. Either way, those games were, Monday night, work week started. You're trying to get things going for the work week. You got the Cowboys against the Redskins. It's a tight game. Either way, if it goes down to the buzzer and you lose it, you're going to be sitting there staring at the ceiling. How in the world did the Cowboys lose this game?
I knew it. I told myself not to do it. I said to myself, don't do it.
That's right.
But I did it.
How did they, they score, the Redskins scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes to win and cover. I'm comfortably covering here. What happened? If you're on the other side of it, you got the Redskins and they have this miraculous comeback. You're so jacked up and excited, you can't go to bed. I've had that happen before back in the day. I'm thinking, wait a minute.
But that also brings its own downside. Man, golly, that was amazing. I am so psyched up. I tell you what, I'm betting the Redskins in the next 2 weeks, both games. I don't care what the spread's going to be. The Redskins are hot. Man, they've been good to. This is another gambling thing that I love. John always talks about some of these gambling misconceptions. Oh, man, the dice. I'm due.
Yeah, come on.
John loves the I'm due. The dice don't know how many you've lost in a row. Here's the other thing that John laughs at. Oh, the Redskins have been good to me. Redskins, oh man, I've been riding on the Redskins. They have been cashing in for me. The Redskins don't know that they've been cashing in for you.
No,
you got to look at every game every week on its own value. Well, that one time I remember I didn't pick the Redskins. They didn't cover. Then I went back on them and they covered again for me. Yeah. So there must be some sort of, I don't know, karma or kismet or something that, oh man, I got to keep going with the Redskins, right?
Now, I do know, Barry, people will play streaks, particularly in baseball. If a team is on a winning streak, and there again, you need to get, I mean, obviously it'd be nice if you got on it early. And, you'll look at the baseball standings and they'll have the last 10, 1-7 or 6 in a row. I know people that will get on streaks. And if a team gets streaky, they'll stay on them. Kind of like they're going to ride that horse till they get thrown off.
Right.
There again, I think that's just a feel. It's kind of like shooting dice. People start pressing their bets when the dice are hot. There again, the dice don't know. But, things are going well. You're rolling some good numbers, blah, blah, blah. And that's, hey, you start pressing those bets, making more money. That's really how you make money. So I'm with you. It's just more of a feel than it is like, well, I mean, I know this has got to happen. No, it doesn't have to happen.
Well, I always appreciate John's expertise on this. Decipher this. I mean, you speak gambling. Theotis says, John, I played some blackjack last night since it is legal in Arizona.
Okay.
And the guy at the table split 2 tens. Yeah, we were ticked off. You know what that means to me? Absolutely. A guy at the table split 2 tens. Yeah, we were ticked off. A, what does splitting 2 tens mean? And B, why did it tick everybody
Well, I'll tell you this, Tobias. I hope the guy, when he split those 2 tens, he got 2 6s on top of them, which is the worst hand. Ridiculous. You got a winner. I mean, odds are, if you got there again, I've seen dealers flip over 5 cards and hit 21. I get it. It happens. But odds are telling you 20 is a good hand. Stay with it. Don't get greedy. And if the dealer's got a 6 up or a 5 up, you're going, no, don't split it. That's a rookie mistake. If the guy's sitting at third base, Tobias, everybody at that table's looking down at him like, you idiot. What are you doing? If I was a guy, I'd go to another table if that clown's pulling that type of
That
stuff.
guy would chase you off?
Oh, ain't no doubt. Very superstitious. Another, I'm superstitious about this, Barry. On a dice table, you got the stick man, you got the guy, you got the dealers there, pit boss behind him, and they're stacking up the chips because they got to be ready to pay and collect. If one of the dice goes behind the chips that they've got stacked up, I don't like that. I don't. That's bad karma. So I don't. There again, just superstitious, personal opinion. But if I see that dice hop behind those stacks of chips, I go, uh-oh. Don't like that. Don't like the sound of that. So, and I don't like guys that pick the dice up and shake them. I've heard a guy go, whoa, shaker at the end of the table, all bets off. Don't like a shaker. Find your 2, pick them up, tap them, and throw them. Let's go. Let's get this game going.
I mean, if I ever do it, I've never gambled on anything in my life. If I ever do it, you don't roll the dice.
Well,
you throw the dice. I mean, right? I mean, you bounce it up.
Yeah.
You don't. This shows that you're a rube, right?
Well, and I will say, ladies like to shake the dice. They do. Women like to shake it. Every time I see a woman on the dice table, they're picking them up and shaking them and throwing them. Okay, okay.
So you go.
That's a lady thing.
You go hand on top, fingers on the bottom, throw.
I don't really think of it that way. And I will say this: when the stick man pushes the 5 dice and you pick the 2, I am not going to pick 2 dice that have a combination of 2, 3, or 12. Because obviously I don't want to roll a 2, 3, or 12 on my come out roll. I ain't doing that. So I'm looking for some numbers that I like. Usually 8, 7, something like that. I'll find the two I like, pull them away. He'll push the other dice back. I usually tap them once and throw them. Let's get going. Bet only what you want to win is usually what I say.
You say that about a lot of things.
Bet only. Wait a minute. Robbie's up.
Robbie is in. That means we'll get about 5 chats in the next 10 minutes. Don't look now. Okay, we're looking. But the Tampa Bay Rays have won 11 of their last 13 games. They are in the thick of the AL wildcard race. Rays are 5.5 games back of the Yankees in the AL East. Plenty of biscuits on the Tampa Bay roster.
Robbie, that's a great chat, man. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Barry, I think I mentioned earlier today, check me, I think the Rays and the Marlins play this weekend. So it should be a great opportunity for the Rays to even get more wins.
Yeah, they again, remember the Rays are playing in the Yankees spring training by Steinbrenner Field in Tampa because I don't think Tropicana Field's ever coming back ever again. Yeah, Tampa Bay is taking on Miami. I think they start early today, is why I'm double clutching here.
In Tampa?
Yeah, they start at noon today.
Oh, wow.
I knew it was something like that. They play in Tampa at Steinbrenner Field, the Yankees spring training facility. So that'll be kind of cool.
That will be.
To watch that day. Baseball. Rays, 4 games over 500. They're in second place.
Yeah. How about
in the East right now?
So,
Robbie,
Robbie,
a 3-game winning streak.
I'm not gonna get on you, Robbie, but I'm curious. I don't recall you having many chats or comments about the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm glad that you are, but what I really want to know, Robbie, are your thoughts on the Atlanta Braves, a team I know you follow. That's what I'd really like to know about.
Yeah.
No, Mal's chimed in today on the Braves. John from Wetumpka's chimed in today about the Braves. Look, I'm not here to pile on the Braves, but I would like a little feedback, a little reaction. And
I'm down. I'm done.
Yeah,
I watch them because I love baseball and I like the Braves and all that, but
don't thank
there's
me
no
now.
tomahawk chomping.
Don't thank me now for, John, I'm just so glad I don't have to sit there and listen to the Braves lose. Thank you for eliminating that problem from my life. I'm just, I'm a community service guy. I'm just trying to help out as many people as I can.
Did you realize one other thing real quick?
Yep.
We mentioned this earlier. The UFL playoffs are upon us right now.
Yep.
There is action coming up this weekend between the Michigan Panthers and the Birmingham Stallions in Birmingham.
Okay.
Hoping that there will be 3,000 fans there.
There needs to be.
Yep. These are the conference semifinals. And the other matchup, one of the teams is the St. Louis Battlehawks, led by Troy quarterback Brandon Silvers, who started last week in the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't throw it a lot, but Silvers is my guy. If they win this dadgum thing, we're going to get him on the show.
Oh, heck yeah.
But his go-to receiver, former Auburn wide receiver Seth Williams.
Really?
To this point,
Huh.
I can tell you without fear of contradiction, because I follow Brandon, he's a buddy, they have not had any altercations on the sidelines between quarterback and Seth Williams.
That's good to know.
That has not happened.
That is good to know. Now, if Seth
That's
really
happened before elsewhere.
It has. And if Seth maybe has a breakout UFL career and just happens to end up on the Denver Bronco roster, how's that going to what's going to happen there? Maybe they've let bygones be bygones. They've gotten over that.
To answer your question, Robbie's hanging in with us. The Braves are awful after losing so many close games. Snitker has to go. Management has done a poor job during the offseason to improve the Braves. Not one 25 free agent is on the roster. Lost too many close games. Actually, and I'm just saying, when they lost Jurickson Profire, who was their free agent acquisition in left field, when they lost him for 60 games because of the performance-enhancing drugs, that was kind of a big deal. But even then, they still are not very good.
Well, you know, Robbie, I appreciate your honesty. I'm a little fearful here, though, Barry, because it's a long season. We're not even to the All-Star break yet. And I'm fearful of jumping on this bandwagon with you and Robbie and Landrum up in Birmingham. I know he's a big Braves fan. I was listening to him yesterday.
He's been hurt before.
Yeah,
he's been hurt before.
I'm not falling into this trap, because if something miraculous does happen, and I'm not even sure it's going to take a miracle, just maybe they get their act together. Maybe that plane ride for 4.5, 5 hours together in a small confined space is what it took to get this team together.
That's what happened with Auburn basketball this year.
Yeah.
They had that one plane ride at the beginning of the year.
Sure.
That kind of solidified the team together.
Yeah.
A couple of guys were supposed to be on the plane, but they had to go back and kick them off.
Small confined spaces.
Yeah, those things can happen.
It can get a little smelly if the lavatory, gets a lot of use, but hey, it's part of it.
Yeah. Go before you board.
True.
Because, I mean, if you're right in the middle of the plane, like in one of the exit rows or anything, and you're looking back there going,
not good.
Oh.
So, yeah.
John just does not want to say, all right, well, I believe in the Braves. And then at the end of the year, they flame out in the playoffs. And John says, I don't know why.
My point being, and look at Auburn when they took that bus ride back from Columbia. Did they not play better after that? No, I don't think they did.
No, they did.
But anyway, I'm not going this route just yet, because I know full well if something does happen and they turn it around and we're a month after the All-Star break and the Braves are leading their division, all of this doom and gloom I'm reading and hearing about completely turns around. Now, I'll be the one to say, whoa, hold on, fellas. Back in early June, you guys were reading their last rites. I mean, what's going on here? That's what I love about Braves fans.
It's not going to happen, though. It's not going to happen. And I'm afraid of this. I've been a Brian Snitker fan for a long time. I liked him, and not just because he was almost in my estimation, a carbon copy of an engineer we used to work with named Herb.
Rest in peace.
But he was I thought he did a good job with the Braves. I'm afraid that he isn't going to last the rest of the month. And he may not make it to the All-Star break.
Wait a minute.
And who's the last Braves manager that got fired in mid-season?
Joe Torre?
Was it Dave Bristol? No, Dave Bristol. Was it Lumen Harris? Was it Freddie Gonzalez? Chuck Tanner?
How about that? How did I remember that guy?
I don't want to. Well, I mean, you remembered Otis Birdsong, for gosh sake.
So can they bring back? I'm trying to think of some of the former managers. They still able?
You know what they need to do? A guy's getting some managing experience in the upcoming All-Star. Chipper Jones. Chipper, huh? He'll definitely light a fire on him. There ain't going to be no easy plane ride after blowing a 6-run lead.
All right, okay. Maybe, I would be a little disappointed, though. I got to tell you, I don't know a lot about this Braves manager. Is it his fault? Or
it is not.
Okay.
It is not.
But somebody's got to be the fall guy.
Well, you need to make sure that you are in a good position this weekend to come to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, because the deals are amazing.
Let me reel some of these off for you, Barry. We've talked a lot about employee pricing plus. What's that mean? Below employee pricing here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 2025 Jeep Gladiators up to $12,000 off. That's $8,000 below employee pricing. Jeep Compass starting at just $22,999. That's $6,000 off, $5,000 below employee pricing. And the Jeep Grand Cherokee, $14,000 off for 0% for 72 months. That's $10,500 below employee pricing. And of course, the Rams. I know what you're asking, Barry. I know what you're asking. Employee pricing plus with the new 2025 Ram 1500, that's up to $17,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months, 11,000 below employee pricing. Only now it's Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville.
Yep, where we are live here on the program in Prattville, Cobbs Ford Road. Coming up on the Monday show, we'll be able to tell you, is Auburn going to the College World Series?
Woo!
Are they not? Does the Phantom have 2 winners in his daily dog? Also, hopefully, we're going to get back in a regular schedule with Josh Harris, our Moneyline magician, coming up on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Probably getting caught up with either the Canadian Open. Could that soon be U.S. Open too?
I wouldn't take all of Canada. I'd take, give me about 5 spots in Canada.
I don't know if he said into
Vancouver would be one of them.
Into the Canadian Open or this NHL playoff series that's going on north of the border, at least for one more game. All right, folks, thanks again for being a part of what we do here, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy some Bud Light over this summer weekend. Going to be hot out there. We're going to be back with you on Monday on the program, recapping, as Barry mentioned, Super Regional Baseball, NBA Finals, Major League Baseball, maybe a little UFL as well. You never know.
Lots to get to on Monday. Appreciate you being with us today. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.